You have two cameras in here? You have two cameras. But like, it'd be cool if I could figure out a way to. Oh wait, maybe up here. Well, but if I set it like, I think if it's far enough back. Maybe if I put it even back here. Yeah. $30. Will you go stand over there, your pretty self, and see how you look? Well, no, that's why we're going to turn it on with this. So that's just like when they're first walking in, but once she comes in, we're going to do blankety blank. Oh, that's perfect. I should be a photographer. Oh, yeah. You can walk all the way over to there and all the way over here and you'll see. I mean, this thing has a camera. Check. Yeah. There's a little thing that shows you. That's why I said should. Check it out. So for all you folks that are tuned in, we'll be starting in about 15 minutes, okay? So just hold tight. You just board it over or whatever. Hold us.
You're our first person.
We got one. Talking about I know, so I told him, I said, what's the like trying? Spent what, $1,200 on a newspaper ad and Facebook, $1,600 on Facebook. So yeah, we probably $50,000. And all this, free email blast, hammer RCP with everything. Hi, come on in. Welcome. How are you doing?
Your choice
Great.
of seating. Well, a brochure and a couple cards. The Dr. Tichy's card is in here. My card is in here. I'll write anything down.
Yep. Still broadcasting live. Find out later, I guess. Will it tell you how many people attended? Like later, right?
The thing with this too is it automatically uploads the video to YouTube.
No, it's our first run. We wanted to start it and make sure it worked. Do you need any sandwich taste testers?
Yes, I do. Started.
Have to ensure that the sandwich is
Yeah.
available.
Do you have water?
No. Surprise, actually. Log out situation. Probably to make sure the turkey.
Are you the doctor? No, the specialist.
We just work here.
Okay.
No, Dr. Tish will be here just a bit.
Okay.
How'd you hear about our class today?
I saw it in the newspaper, then I called. I have a son and, nobody in my family.
But he has psoriasis pretty bad? Yeah.
I wish they would find a cream because everything that he's told damages you worse.
Yeah.
So,
Well, maybe you can ask Dr. Tish a question about that. I mean, if you try different products that aren't working, you know, maybe she has a suggestion of something else that you could try. Well, welcome. How are you today, bud?
Good, how are you? Did you get already settled into your house?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, I'm telling you, man, I've been on my hands and knees, scrubbing and cleaning, putting things together, emptying boxes. I mean, yeah, but it's finally coming together and it feels really good.
Good.
It really does. So excited. Yeah.
Was there more people out there?
Just Dr.
Did you bring your kid?
I'm sorry?
Did you bring your kid?
I didn't see no kids in here. That's probably Amy. Amy and, yeah, Lisa.
Lawn care schedule. It's nice these guys are around. I would like that. Oh, it's favorite Greenfield here. And I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey guys, Dr. Tichy. Hey, how are you? Hi, I know we've met before. I'm Dr. Tichy. Have we met? No. I'm glad to know you're Dr. Tichy. What's the whiteboard? Yeah. Okay. What happened? You wanted the whiteboard. Oh yeah, do you care? Is that weird? No. If there's just a few of us, then we'll just sit together and I'll just draw on my back. Yeah. So I'll just leave it just in case. And then we can move it if we need to. No. Why?
You're live on.
You're on Google, what is it? So they can watch, are they watching, like, what's that? Like, where's the, I don't want to really. That's the camera?
That's what I meant to tell you actually out there.
And then I forgot.
Then I saw her camera.
Have you been here before, the clinical trials of Texas? No?
No. My son is.
Oh, how old is he?
41.
Okay.
Ready to begin.
Poor guy.
And I'm like,
If it's not in your family anywhere. There's a lot of good treatments though.
yeah, but the side effects are horrible.
No. We have some new medicines that really are very safe.
I didn't know that. But that's what.
Does he have health insurance? Oh, well, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so sit down. Good.
Yeah. No, we have there's a lot of safe options for him. Is he doing anything
Like
right
one
now?
time they were gonna give me the bunch of. And then it had all these side effects. And he's on the board.
What do you already have?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
And I get scared because he's got a little girl that.
Oh, he does. Is he married?
Yes.
Yeah. Funny. We had a bunch of people RSVP.
It's hard to get here.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
the people.
I know.
By the time you know it.
Yeah,
No, that's bad for this.
it is. It is. Did you bring anybody with you? Oh, like we let
My
them
husband
eat
brought me
dinner. Oh, darn it. We could have had dinner.
Is he around?
I know. Somebody could
No,
eat dinner
he went home.
We don't need sandwiches.
Come back.
Well, yeah, so how much psoriasis, like how much on his body?
Not on his face.
Okay.
Or his hand. And it's like,
Okay,
not the whole.
no, but a lot of patches, yeah. There's definitely good treatment options for him that are safe.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
He works late and.
Oh, you're good mom.
I mean, anything for you, even there.
I know. Yeah, well, we'll go over everything, and if it's just a few of us, then I can use specific information.
And I got your card.
Oh, gosh. We can go over all of that. I mean, the challenge is when people don't have insurance, then we have to be really creative. But then that's just. Well, why don't we wait till like 6:15? Is that cool with everybody? Parking and traffic and stuff.
He said, "No,
A little bit. It's it's thought that there probably are some genes that we can pass on to our family. But you know, it's not perfectly hereditary, like brown eyes. You know what I mean? You have brown eyes, you know that your kids are probably gonna have brown eyes every once in a while. It's not like that, but it tends to run in families a little bit. Yeah, there's nobody. Hi, how are you guys? Hi.
Welcome, come on in.
How's it going? Please eat. We got so much food.
Yes.
What are you gonna do? Sandwich,
I'll some water.
Help yourself. Please. We don't want to take it home. We'll eat it in the car. How are you guys? Good. You're a teenager. You eat. I know you do. Please, I'm begging you.
I just made dinner with this.
Oh, you did.
There's dessert, some cookies up there.
After, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, in an hour. Yeah. How old are you? Oh, cool. Okay. I have a little boy that's 12. Or big boy. Sorry. Big. Are you in 6th grade or something? Okay. Where do you go to school? Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Hi. You look like an athlete. Yeah. What do you play? Oh, very cool. Baseball's good.
Oh,
Crazy.
good story.
Are you missing? Are you missing practice tonight? No? Oh, yeah. That, I figured.
I didn't tell him though.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring it up. You get a break. How are you, little one? Hi, how are you doing?
Please help yourself there.
Y'all please eat.
Want cookies?
I like it. I'm gonna do it to my cookies.
I need a cookie. You want a cookie?
I just,
You just ate
I
one.
know.
Do you want another cookie?
I'll probably grab a handful. I'm gonna grab one of the blue bags. I'll grab a blue bag and stuff some cookies in there.
Good. That'd be good. What's your baby's name? Sarah? That's a good name. Oh, your name is Sarah. Your name is. What's your baby's name? Oh, that's Dora. I didn't recognize her. Does Dora go everywhere with you? Sarah, do you take Dora with you lots of places or just sometimes? Yes, sometimes, yeah. I figured I told them we'll wait till about 6:15 and then I'll put people have
Do you have any visual aids or anything?
I'm gonna use the whiteboard.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna put that up for me.
I'll print it off and then it lays out.
I'll make sure the marker work.
I did, I checked it. I mean, I don't even know what I'm gonna write. I just need to like. Write something or you grab the internet? Okay.
What do you want? You start drawing and then. Did you want that?
Or,
I think there was, I think the one is the dollar lady. The three things. Yeah, then you were like-
Start with cookies.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Minecraft. I don't know how to.
Make sure.
Play tic-tac-toe, click on that.
All right.
yeah,
Sorry.
We're broadcasting this on Google and YouTube.
I heard.
Everything you say is being recorded.
On that camera too?
How does that work with, I guess there won't be anybody in the audience.
It's just you, audience is.
You know what I mean, like in case it's hot and stuff. 7 to 8.
Trying to get into the video a little bit more.
No, I don't know.
Sarah,
Actually,
did
probably
you go
is.
to school today? You hang out? You play? You did? It was nice outside today, right? That's cool. Trying to make that way to my camera and it's not actually my house. And if it's just
Then I
us,
won't be eating while you're talking.
you're welcome. If it's just us, we'll just kind of circle up and visit. Oh, you guys not together? Oh, okay, you came in at the same time, so I said, I'm sorry. How are you? I'm Dr. Tichy. Nice to meet you. Okay.
I tried calling earlier, the RSVP.
Hmm?
I tried calling earlier.
Uh-huh.
I didn't
And
know
you
if
couldn't get through in
Yeah.
10 minutes.
that whatever number it said to press, I did twice.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, that's his fault.
That's why I'm talking. I thought somebody might like to know that.
Yeah, I think, right? Is that your department or whatever? What is your mini hats that
So
you
what
wear?
number were you pressing?
I think it said for other information, press 3.
because other 1 and 2 are for the clinical trial. The brother and book that's 3.
The elevator.
They were just dead silent. So I called back.
You know, at a certain hour, the elevator.
6:30 or 7.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's so good.
Is that how? No, what else?
Because sometimes it'll stop.
I think
too.
it's 7. It's definitely not.
Yeah. You just got home.
Are you gonna try it?
That's his voice too.
He's the famous man.
That's his voice.
You just call it once in a while. Here's your voice.
Yeah. Man, oh boy.
Before hours, it said press 3 for other information.
Gotcha.
That's 30. That's it.
Maybe it was supposed to go to the front desk, but then it just.
I don't know. I'll check it tomorrow.
Should have voicemails.
This one in here has been waiting for at least today.
Okay, so tell me your name. Isaiah. Wait, did we meet? I remember Psoriasis in Isaiah. No? You haven't met me before, right? Okay. And then your mom. Glory. Glory. Luca, you told me that. Ted. Okay, I thought you were with clinical trials.
I am.
Okay. And little Sarah, and then Trina. And have all of you, like, you guys, you have a diagnosis of psoriasis? Well, I know your story, but you have a diagnosis of psoriasis personally or in the family, like that? Okay. Yeah, but the baby or?
Yeah, her, I don't know what's going on right there.
Back where?
Back there.
Oh, like where? How long? Well, let's start. You want to start, guys? You want to just like circle up so it's not so weird that I'm not standing up there at the front by myself. It's so lonely. Unless you want me to, but I don't want to.
Whatever you want to do.
Is that cool with you guys? We're on wheels, so we'll just kind of stick together. Okay. And that way, it's nice with a smaller group. If you guys have specific questions, we'll have time to go over that and give you as much information as you need. The weird thing about a group like this is that usually when it's just me in the office with somebody, it's private. You know what I'm saying? So I am aware that we're a group, so I'll try to keep it relatively generic, so not to. Hi. So that hey, Sarah, close your head really quick. Then. I'm just wondering. No, I'm okay. You're the cutest girl I ever saw. How long has it been?
It's about 2 weeks. Before she had, really start off with like bulk patches.
Okay.
This one, it's growing back there.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And when did it the whole thing first start? Like over a year ago?
She got pregnant.
Okay.
So the patches. I just got on my spine. Less itchy.
You can get another one, little one. There's a limitless supply. Okay. So, and then I guess I want to ask specifically for psoriasis over there, but y'all can ask me questions later. Well, first of all, psoriasis worldwide, if we took everybody together in the whole world and put them in a stack of cards and shuffled it, and then we put them into stacks of 100, 2 people out of every stack would have psoriasis. So 2% incidence worldwide. It's really common. But in North America, in the United States and Canada, it's about a 4 to 5% incidence. So if we took everybody and stacked them into stacks of 100, about 4 to 5 people out of every stack would have psoriasis. So it's very common problem. Interestingly, when I was reading, and I didn't know what we were going to talk about tonight, so I was just kind of reading about psoriasis. In Bible times, way back when, psoriasis and leprosy were clumped into the same category. So if you have read the Bible, or even have read just like, old history, people who had skin disorders were kept out of town. I mean, they were really, really shunned and treated poorly. So looking back at records, it looks like they thought psoriasis and leprosy were the same thing. And so some of those people that were shunned were probably psoriasis patients, which is really sad. And so we need to remember that now, too, that people that have it, nobody in this room that I see right now has really prominent psoriasis, but some people do. Their whole face, their whole scalp, all on their arms. So they're at the grocery store trying to pay, and the people behind them step back a little bit because they're scared it's contagious. There's just a lot of embarrassing issues that they don't want to go to the pool. We have people in San Antonio gets to 110 and they still wear jeans and a long sleeve shirt every day. So it really, really impacts people's lives. There wasn't even a name for psoriasis until the 1800s, and they first labeled it different than leprosy. It took that long, like way, way, way before Jesus, all the way to the 1800s until they finally had a name for it, and they realized that it wasn't the same thing as leprosy. The first treatment ever for psoriasis was sunshine, and we knew that sun cured a lot of diseases. 1,000 years ago, that was known. It was a very, very ancient remedy with sunlight. We still know that sun helps psoriasis, and we use that sometimes with light therapy. But they also introduced in the 1800s tar treatments, which we still use today, believe it or not, however old that is. There's coal tar, like in Neutrogena T-gel. That's a tar product. And they gave injections of sulfur, which we do not do anymore. But there was a lot of bad things that they did, too. In the early 1900s, they tried milk injections, which makes no sense to me at all. Like, who even thought of that? They were injecting milk into psoriasis. We obviously don't do that. They would try to get people to get a fever. They thought you could, fever it out. That doesn't make any sense. They gave people arsenic, which we know is poison. But they also used salicylic acid, which we still use. That's in some shampoos as well, like T-Sal. That's one of the common ingredients. But now we have lots of different treatments, and especially in the last 10 years, there's been some huge breakthroughs with psoriasis that are much safer. Lupe and I were talking about that. So there's some now, we'll get to that in a little bit, that are very, very safe long-term treatments. About 79% of people, so if we took 100 people with psoriasis, about 79% of them will have some kind of changes on their fingernails. It might be really, really mild, like some polka dots. So if you have psoriasis, you can look at your fingers really carefully in the light, and you might see some little dots there. They can get really brittle and break off easily. They can get raised up and uncomfortable, but about 79% of people have some mild changes. One thing I always want all my patients to know is that anywhere from 5 to 30%. So again, if we took 100 people with psoriasis, somewhere between 5 and 30 of them would have arthritis. And that's something that in the last 20 years has become much better understood. We used to think that those were completely different diseases, that maybe people had rheumatoid arthritis and psoriasis. But now we know that there's a thing called psoriatic arthritis that's very common. So anytime I get a patient to come in with psoriasis, even if it's just small patches on the elbows, I'm always asking, do you have any joint pain?
Is psoriatic arthritis always associated with psoriasis?
About 10% of the time, people will get joint pain before the skin involvement. Does that make sense? So it is the same disease, yes. It is always the same disease. And if you have the psoriatic arthritis in your joints, you're almost always going to get the rash as well. But it can be really mild rash. I have patients that literally have a couple spots on their elbows and bad arthritis. So you don't have to have really severe. The severity of the skin issues doesn't, and I'll say this in a different way, but the severity of the skin issues does not predict if you're going to have arthritis or not. Okay, so it's not like the worse the skin, the more common the joint problem. It just, they're the same disease, and it just happens in people. But the majority of the time, they get the rash first and then the arthritis. I don't know if that's what you were asking. Okay. Let's see. Effective. You can get psoriasis at any age. I have seen only twice a baby with psoriasis. It usually gets misdiagnosed as eczema. They look like eczema kids, very itchy, scratchy. But you can get it in childhood. And you can get it, you could be 85 and never have had it and then develop psoriasis. But typically it happens either between the ages of 20 and 30, it starts, or between the ages of 50 and 60. Those are the most common times in life when it happens. But we have lots of teenagers with it, lots of school-age kids. But the majority of people, it's going to be sometime between their 20s and 30s or 50s and 60s. 3/4 of people are going to get it before they're 40. Most people get it before they're 40 if they're going to have it, but not everybody. And we were talking earlier about genetics. Is it genetic? And it depends. It's kind of genetic. It tends to run in families a little bit. Most of my patients that have psoriasis can tell me some uncle or cousin or somebody in the family somewhere that had psoriasis. But some, there's nobody. They have no idea where it came from. We think that probably, and does everybody know what genes are? Like you want to know yet in school about your chromosomes and stuff? Okay. So we think that in your gene makeup, when you were created, that there was a little signal in your cells that said, I think he's going to have psoriasis, and it just kind of simmers there and simmers there through all these years until something else happens. And that's what we're trying to figure out. We don't know what that thing is. It might be that you had a cold. It might be that you got a really bad sunburn. We know in children, it's sometimes the strep throat. You might have a big life stress happen, but that gene wakes it up and says, and then the psoriasis happens. So if we could figure out what that other trigger is, that would be really exciting, but we don't know yet. But it runs in families a little bit. So if you have psoriasis, there's, I think it's like a 9% chance that one of your children will have psoriasis. If both parents have psoriasis, it's like a 40% chance. But that's variable. It's not perfect. We don't really know for sure what the statistics are about passing it on to kids. We know that there's certain triggers for it, like we just talked about a little bit. One of them that we didn't mention is low calcium. That doesn't mean that everybody with psoriasis should go out and take calcium, but we know that some people with really low calcium, that's the trigger that kicks off their psoriasis. There are certain drugs that can, and I mean medication, that can cause psoriasis. Some of the beta blockers, which is a blood pressure medicine, lithium, which is a medicine we use in psychiatry, some of the medications that we use to treat malaria, and some others that you would use. We know that drinking alcohol can make psoriasis worse. We know that smoking can make psoriasis worse. And we know that obesity, being overweight, has an association with psoriasis, but we don't know yet if it's that. Remember I was talking about that other trigger that kind of wakes up that gene? We don't know if it's the trigger that wakes up the gene or if it's just that people with psoriasis also tend to have some other issues that cause them to be obese or overweight. So we're not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg on that one, but we're trying to figure it out. And this is what Luke and I were talking earlier. When we decide if how aggressive we're going to be in treating psoriasis. And I tend to be really aggressive in treating psoriasis because I do psoriasis research and because I just have a heart for it. And so there's different styles of doctors out there. Like you might go to one doctor's office and they'll say, oh, it's not that bad. Just put this lotion on it, it'll help a little bit. There might be me on the other hand that's like, she needs to have no psoriasis, I want it all gone. And what we base that on different. To me, I am very interested in the statistics and the literature and the studies that show the change in people's moods that have psoriasis. And that's why at the beginning when I was reading about the leprosy psoriasis thing way back when, even though our culture in the United States does not exclude people based on skin disease, we as humans feel very self-conscious when we have different skin, and that plays into our lives. So the incidence of depression, of anxiety, and even of suicidal thoughts is much higher in psoriasis patients. The suicidal risks is about 20% higher than the general population. So that's very significant to me. And so even though it's just a rash, that some people think that's not the case. It's a disease that affects their overall quality of life. It affects relationships. It affects social. It affects the amount of time and money you spend putting on creams and changing what you wear, and changing the sheets because you're, flaking everywhere, and all of that is very, very significant. I would say out of every 100 psoriasis patients I see, maybe 2 of them just want to cream. The vast majority of people want to do whatever they can to get rid of it. So that is why I'm so excited on some of the new medicines that have come out now that are safe. They are injectables, which I know that you mentioned. They are much safer than some of the medicines we had previously that are taken by mouth that we know can cause liver damage or increase your blood pressure, different things like that. So they do have some side effects. Mainly, they can increase your risk of if you get an infection, like if you get the flu, maybe you're going to be sicker than you would have been if you weren't on that medicine. But overall, they're very safe. We can talk more specifically if you guys want to about that in a little bit. Other things, mainly in adults, there's a thing called metabolic syndrome, which is diabetes, high blood pressure, high triglycerides, being overweight. We in the last, I say we, but not me, the researcher people, in the last maybe 15 years or so, have figured out that people with psoriasis are at increased risk of all those things: diabetes, hypertension, coronary artery disease, all of that. And so we weren't sure if it's because when you have psoriasis, you get depressed and you quit working out, or what. But now we know that psoriasis is what we call an inflammatory disease. So part of the immune system is going haywire and causing lots of inflammation in the skin. Kind of like if you get a mosquito bite, it turns red and swollen and itchy. Psoriasis, you're getting red and itchy for no reason. It's just your immune system cannot settle down. Well, that's going on in the skin is also going on in the blood vessel walls, in your heart, in your liver. There's inflammation all throughout the body that is linked to obesity, linked to diabetes. So we think that it's part of a whole system of things,
That might be associated with why I had flu twice this last season.
Depending on what medication you're on. I don't know what medication.
Oh, I thought you were talking about just psoriasis. So.
No, some of the medicines that we use to treat psoriasis can lower your immune system a little bit, and you can get sick. The psoriasis itself doesn't make people more likely to become ill. Now, diabetes does. So if you have diabetes and psoriasis. In fact, people with psoriasis get less skin infections than people without psoriasis. Yeah. So yeah, if you're on an immunosuppressive medicine, then that can explain the flu, but not just the psoriasis. What was I going to say? Yeah. So especially my adult patients, I'm really, really aggressive with talking to them about their cholesterol, about their exercise, about their sleep patterns, their overall health, because they're already kind of facing an increased risk of all these diseases. So it's like you have to take that head on and just be proactive and take better care of your body than you would otherwise, which everybody should do anyway, but we don't. I don't see the same association in children. They don't seem to have all that same risk. It seems like a different situation. And probably, I predict someday we'll figure out that there's a little bit of a different mechanism with kids as opposed to the adults. Yeah, we don't. I mean, most of my psoriasis kids are super healthy. No other issues associated with them. So I'll go over some of the treatments here, and then we'll ask if you guys have any specific questions, but I can answer whatever you want. The treatments, the first kind of thing that we do is creams, right? There's steroid creams, there's tar, there's these creams that are vitamin D kind of analog creams. They come in ointments, and they come in lotions, and they come in gels, and they come in foams, and all the industry wants to have their piece of the pie. They want to have the best cream. So we have very limited ingredients, but every company is trying to come up with a new way to entice you to buy theirs. So like a spray, might be like the new thing. But at the end of the day, there's basic ingredients of steroid, vitamin D analogs, some tar, which is over the counter for 2%. And then there's another group of medicines from Topic and Eladil. They work a little bit. They work really well on genital psoriasis. But we have very limited ingredients that come in the form that you put on your skin. So that's the story with that. The problem with the creams is that they're time consuming. They can stain your clothes. It's slightly depressing because they don't usually completely clear the psoriasis. So it's like people, you use them for a while, but you eventually get discouraged and just kind of are like, forget it. You know, so they have a role. They help with itching and they help with some flaking and things like that. And in some people, they can clear the psoriasis if they have a few spots. After that, we start getting into oral medicines, pills you can take. The basic pills that you can take, there's methotrexate, which has been used for a very long time for psoriasis. And it does work. It absolutely works in most people. The problem with it is that it definitely causes liver damage after a certain period of time. So we can't use it forever. And that used to be all we had. So we would save that for the really severe people and then just enjoy 2 years. And then after that, we're like, what do we do now? We'd either have to take them off or give them a year break or something. So it really wasn't perfect, but it was the best that we had. There's cyclosporin, which is a medicine that's used in people that get organ transplants. We can use that in a lower dose in psoriasis patients. It works really well, but again, it has side effects. It can raise your blood pressure. It can hurt your kidney a little bit, not that much, but it definitely makes you at higher risk the longer you use it for different cancers. So skin cancers, leukemias, lymphomas. So I use it sparingly. You know, if I have patients that really, really need it, they're really sick. I mean, I have patients on it right now, but I know that I'm just using it short term to get them on something else to get it controlled. So it's not something that you want to do really long term. In kids, we use it for sure. But again, I try not to use it too long in that population. What else? There's another one called Psoriatane, which have you guys heard of Accutane before for acne treatment? So Psoriatane is like the cousin of Accutane, and it's an oral medicine. You can only use it in men because, interestingly, in women, it causes birth defects, and it lasts in your body for 2 years. And keeps up only if you drink alcohol while you're taking it. So that's a whole funny story, but that we found out that alcohol interacts with the psoriatane and changes the form, so it deposits in your body for 2 years. So I'm not brave enough in our culture to put any women on it, just because if you have a glass of wine for up to 2 years, you can't become pregnant afterwards. So you can use it in postmenopausal women or in men, and it does work really nicely, actually. After that, there's, or maybe I should have said light therapy before the oral thing, but it's another option. It's a very safe option. We've come a long way with light therapy. It looks like a tanning booth, but it's absolutely not. Tanning booths cause melanoma. But it's a high-tech tanning booth that takes just a certain spectrum of light from the sun, if that makes sense. It like takes all the sun rays and just takes a certain wavelength of light. So they're really special light bulbs that shine on the skin, and it behaves sort of like a steroid cream, but it's light, and so it can improve psoriasis tremendously. And sometimes I do psoriatane together with light therapy, or if I have kids that, in children, sometimes we just don't want our kids on an oral medicine yet or an injectable yet. So we want to kind of buy some time until we have to do that, and the light therapy works for that. Or if we have patients that they're already really ill with liver damage, or they're on so many other medications, or they have a history of cancer or something, then the light therapy is a really good option for them because it's not going to hurt the rest of their body. And then after that, you get to the injectable medicine. The first one, well, there was another one that got kicked off the market. But anyway, the first one and the one that's still on the market that's been around the longest is Enbrel. That has the most safety data. At the time when it came out, I remember my first patient on Enbrel, we were all just shocked. It was amazing because it works so well for the joints in particular, because you can get crippled from psoriatic arthritis. So it worked amazingly well. It seems like there were some people that it cleared their skin completely, and some people it just didn't. And we still haven't really figured out exactly why that is. But Enbrel's around. Patients who are nervous about taking any of the injectables oftentimes will go with Enbrel because it has 20 years of safety information,
Advertising on TV a lot.
Oh, of course, all of them. That's what happens when something costs $36,000 a year. Then it's like buying a car every year, a really nice car every year.
That's what the Enbrel is?
So, yeah, so Enbrel was one of the first ones. There was another one called Amavie, but it doesn't matter, it's not around anymore. There's another one called Humira that's advertised for as well. I'm trying to think of that commercial. I think it's a lady on the beach or something. But, or did yoga. Oh, yeah, well, we all are.
Well, she's going to lactose.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, she's sorry. Oh. So, Humira is the next one. That's been out second longest. Their injections, by the way, Enbrel is an injection either once or twice a week. Humira is an injection every other week. You can do them at home. Humira has a very similar, we call it a mechanism of action, or how does it work, you know? It works very similar to Enbrel, a little bit different, but very similar. So we had those two for a long time. There is another one called Remicade that's an IV infusion that I never use on my psoriasis patients, but they use it a lot for bad arthritis. You can also use Remicade for lupus, for rheumatoid arthritis, for Crohn's disease, a lot of different things. But I don't use it for skin psoriasis. And then the most recently approved one is called Stelara, and that's the brand name Stelara. The chemical name is sticky mouth, which I don't know how to remember that. But anyway, they call it Stelara, and that's I'm sorry, I take it back. We just had a new one approved last month. So Stelara was the newest one. It worked very well. It worked better than Humira and Enbrel, and the injection was only every 3 months. So that was a lot of fun for people treating psoriasis, because for the first time, you could have a treatment where the patient didn't have to see you all the time. They could see you every 3 months and just be a normal person, you know, and that was great. With all the other orals and the injectables, they're in your office very frequently getting blood work and all that. So Stelara changed things a lot. But then came this medicine by Novartis. I'm sorry? All of the side effects for all of the biologics were pretty much the same, from Enbrel all the way through the most recent one, CTT, which is it lowers your immune system a little bit. So if you're going to get sick, you'll be sicker than you would be without it. They're always looking long term at, does it cause cancer? And that's what we look at in our culture for every medicine. You know what I'm saying? Does it cause cancer? That's like our biggest scare, because it's manipulating the way your body functions. We haven't yet found that it does. Some patients with rheumatoid arthritis who are on these medicines, who are also on 2 other medicines, like remember earlier I was saying the pills that you can take as well? So some patients with rheumatoid arthritis in particular will be taking an oral medicine and an injectable and steroids a lot for years. Those patients, it looks like they have a higher risk of getting lymphoma, but rheumatoid arthritis patients on no medicine have a higher risk of getting lymphoma. So we're still sorting that out. With me and my healthy psoriasis patients, my main thing is when they get sick, they need extra TLC. I need to make sure that I put them on an antibiotic earlier. I need to hold a dose if they get the flu, stuff like that. But we don't see any liver effects or kidney effects. So the most recent one is called Cosentex. The real name of it is secukinumab. But that one is unbelievable. It has a different target than the others that we talked about, and it works faster than anything we have. So it used to be that if you wanted really fast results, you put people on cyclosporin, which is a big medicine that you take by mouth that suppresses your immune system, and we still had to wait about 6 weeks for clearance. But on the new one, my patients start feeling better about maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So it's pretty amazing. And about the statistics say about 88% of the time, so if we took 100 people with psoriasis and put them all on Cosentex, about 88 out of 100 of them would do very, very well at the end of the year. So that's a big number. It's not 100%. So those are the basic treatment options out there. And the only barrier to getting the injectables is the price. It's extremely expensive. And I wish you guys probably can quote how expensive, somebody was telling me the other day, how expensive it is now in the United States to get a drug approved for treatment. It's like $11 billion, or like a huge, huge number. So the problem is by the time they spend all that money to get FDA approval, and they turn it out on the market, and it's just ridiculous. So without insurance, it's very hard. But they do have drug assistance programs, and they'll take a certain number of people a year that the company will pay for medication. depends which insurance you have. And so insurance, you know, sometimes people have only what's called major medical coverage, so they'll have like a $10,000 deductible, you know, and so that's the situation with that. But it depends if you have an HMO or PPO. Every policy is very different. But I have patients that pay $25 a month for their, you know, Stelara. It's just a copay. So they're usually covered very well.
Pretty low.
Cool.
I might get some help there.
Oh, usually, yeah. Yeah, and typically the insurance wants to know what have you tried before you tried the injectables. If you've tried nothing ever and you have 2 patches on your elbows, then they're going to say, maybe not. And I would call it. Let's try this. Yeah.
You come across a lot of people who have a mixture of like eczema and psoriasis.
No, because they're opposite. Like so your immune system that fights infections and all of that, it has kind of 2 branches of it, if that makes sense. This is probably not going to make sense. It has 2 branches, and one team is really good at insect bites and allergies and stuff like that, and the other team is really good at causing havoc for no reason, like with the a couple other skin disorders. So eczema is caused by that first team that doesn't like allergies, that gets rubbed at, and psoriasis is caused by that other team. So they're almost opposite, and you really don't see them together. Yeah. I mean, you might have a patient that has real sensitive skin with psoriasis, but they aren't going to have eczema. Eczema is a whole thing of allergies to things. They are more likely to have asthma. It's just a different. Yeah. Well, first of all, you want a sunscreen that has UVA and UVB block, which most of them do now that are on the market. You want at least an SPF 30 or higher. And I'm personally not a fan of the aerosol sunscreens, just because typically they're not applied correctly, and it makes the floor really slippery, and it causes acne. So. A sunburn can cause a flare in psoriasis. Yeah. Ironically, sun exposure can make the psoriasis better. Yeah. So, yeah, people tend to get better. Or you'll notice that some people, they have their psoriasis on their chest, where they always have their shirt, but not on their arms, when they're always out running around. But yeah, a sunburn can flare the psoriasis. Regular sun exposure can improve it a little bit. Yeah. Chlorine is great. Stress, alcohol, infection, you get sick, smoking. Yeah, exactly. The things that make you sick make psoriasis worse. When you put them out, like social drinking. No, yes, like alcoholism. You know, if you have somebody that's a binge alcoholic, they get in a cycle, it's really difficult for them. But again, it's hard to isolate out. A lot of people with skin disease use alcohol to make themselves feel better. It's miserable to have really severe psoriasis. You can't sleep, you itch. If you're in a marriage, there's intimacy issues. I mean, there's a lot of problems. So people commonly turn to alcohol to self-medicate. It's the same with chronic pain, all of that. So, oh yeah, well, I hate soda. Because these patients are at higher risk of having diabetes and high blood pressure, one of the first things we try to do, you can ask them is, we're like, so how many sodas do you drink today? And we try to cut that out. Sodas are bad for so many reasons, and we really need psoriasis patients to be healthy. You know, and one of the worst dietary habits in the westernized world is soda. So we really, really, really try to cut that out. The healthier the person's body is, the better their psoriasis.
So a minute ago, I thought you said chlorine was great.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah. Well, chlorine lowers bacterial counts on the surface of the skin. There's nothing, toxic about it. It's fine. And I mean, with eczema kits, when he was asking earlier about eczema kits, or people in general, they get dried out really easily. So anytime they get their skin wet, they need to moisturize after they get out of the water. But it's not the chlorine that's causing the problem. In fact, sometimes we use bleach baths at home to improve skin flares and things. Yeah, so that's the same with the swimming pool. With sodium, like a problem with sodium level or eating sodium? There's been no reports of problems eating sodium, but I and especially like in a young guy or girl, I don't know who your best friend is, but I'm assuming you got dragged here against your will. Yeah, there's been no reports associated increased sodium intake with a flare and psoriasis. But then I would go back to grown-ups with psoriasis have a higher risk of high blood pressure and all that stuff. So if I had a patient with high blood pressure and psoriasis, then I would talk about sodium intake or like kidney disease or something. But in general, no. Yeah, go for it.
Salt water. I hear you say that they go to the beach.
Yeah, that to me that's fascinating. And now I'm talking just out of experience. This is nothing that I know of that, but I know for certain that out of my own experience, when people go to the beach, their skin disease gets better. And I do not know why, and I don't know what it is. And they can even not go in the water, but just being in that environment, I don't know if it's humidity, I don't know if it's some weird like moon tidal thing going on. Less stress, seriously, less stress, which makes you wonder maybe we all need to chill. Like, why does the westernized world? Yeah, yeah. So their psoriasis gets better, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's salt water or the air or the that's vacation. There's something to it. I just don't know what it is. I wish you could put it in the bottle and bring it back. Oh.
Every year,
Yeah. It helped her. I really, there's something to it.
So all the things that you're talking about that affect your psoriasis, like stress level, your health and what have you, is that across the board with all the type of psoriasis?
Okay, that's a really good question too. So yeah, there's different types of psoriasis. There's plaque type, which is the most common. That's where people get big red scaly plaques, and just from kind of seeing in the crowd or whatever, I think that's mainly what you guys were interested in hearing about. There's another kind of psoriasis. It's called pustular psoriasis that is terrible. It's a really big deal, and it tends to be palms and soles, but you can get it everywhere. Those patients are pretty sick, and it's treated very differently than what we've been talking about. What we've been talking about this whole time is pretty much plaque type psoriasis. There's another psoriasis that's called betaine psoriasis that's more common in kids, and those are tiny little polka dots everywhere. I just got a text a minute ago, and I think somebody showed me betaine psoriasis on somebody. So those are tiny. Light therapy works really well for that, and sometimes in kids it's associated with strep throat. So sometimes we can treat the strep throat and the betaine psoriasis goes away. Other times not, but it's always my first try. And then there's erythrodermic psoriasis, which is really sick people. Their whole body is red and scaly. They usually have the chills, and they wouldn't be here right now. So the triggers, one of the triggers of pustular psoriasis is low calcium. Weird trigger. Another one can be pregnancy. One of the triggers of erythrodermic psoriasis is people that have psoriasis. If you go to the ER and they give you a steroid shot, when that steroid shot wears off, it can mess up the happiness of your psoriasis, and it can go all over the place and you can get really sick. So, oh my gosh, yeah. But so here's the thing, when you talk about studies, there's different ways to do studies. And so we here, when we do drug studies, they're all through the FDA, and they're all on, well, all the ones I've done have been on prescription medications. There's the vitamin studies probably and stuff like that. I don't know. So there's very strict rules about the ways they do the studies. There are also studies that you can read in Glamour magazine or on the internet, that are like, oh, well, we did a study on 10 people, that ate a full, this is actually one that I saw, that ate a full bunch of cilantro every single day. Like they literally ate it. And they were like, and it works. I'm like, oh my gosh. So the way they do that study is, I mean, not, you have to be really careful what you read, and it takes a long time. It took a long time for me to learn how to read a study, to understand the numbers, to understand, you know, if it's valid or not, who did the study, what their motivation is, if they're going to get paid if I buy their product or not, you know. So yes, there's all kinds of, you can look at oregano right now. So yeah, those essential oils that everybody on the internet, if you Google, you know, you're going to see things about oils, cilantro, what else? What are some other natural, I'm trying to think. Now the sun is a real one, and that's been around, like I said, so, you know, 500 BC it's recorded that people use sun to treat disease, and we still do this. Now we just make it fancy in a light, fancy light bulbs because it's safer. You're not going to get sunburn, and you're not going to get skin cancer. That you can read all kinds of. When I read, you know, when I'm looking at what I want to learn that day about psoriasis, I quickly just like X out all that because it's not well-controlled studies and it's very expensive. I mean, a lot of times when the people come in to see me, they've already spent $500 on this essential oil and on, you know, this cream from Mexico and blah, 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 blah. It just adds up so quickly. People can be taken advantage of very easily because they're so eager to get better. We do not know of any natural remedy short of having a very healthy diet, you know, not smoking, exercising. Those are all natural remedies that definitely improve psoriasis. Yeah, but not, it's funny because our culture tries to think, what can I eat to make myself better? And in psoriasis, it's like, what can you not eat to make yourself better? You know, healthy foods, no soda. Yeah. You know, San Antonio, when I was training here, there was a really sweet support group that started out of a diabetes clinic that was downtown. It was led by this lady, Miss Rose, and I don't know if they're meeting anymore. The National Psoriasis Foundation is a great website. It has wonderful resources. It is looked at very carefully to make sure that what's on there is reliable. There's patient blogs where people can talk, which is actually very helpful. You know, if there's somebody that has similar psoriasis to you and they're like, well, I tried Enbrel and here's what happened to me. There's value in that, you know, or tricks they found. If you warm it before you inject it, it doesn't hurt as much, or, you know, that kind of stuff, just practical information. But yeah, there used to be a San Antonio support group, and I couldn't, when I was trying to look it up, I don't see their meeting anymore. I can't find it online.
Yeah, I tried finding it and then.
There used to be, they probably are meeting somewhere, I just don't know where. What else? Do you have any questions?
Is it common just to have scalp psoriasis and nowhere else in the body?
Yes.
And are they treated differently?
In my office,
Really use to treat.
yeah, so scalp psoriasis is so frustrating, and it's really disruptive to somebody's life, and I feel like it's dismissed too much because it doesn't look, you know, it's not on their body, so the doctor tends to kind of be like, oh, well, you're lucky it's on your scalp. Like, oh, our patients with psoriasis that have it on their scalp are miserable. So I tend to be pretty aggressive with that. I just put somebody on an injectable medicine with just scalp psoriasis. But there are certain, earlier when we were talking about how you can have steroids and vitamin D and all that, mousses, foams, liquids, those are usually used on the scalp. There's steroid-containing shampoos that can work as well. So there's things to put on the scalp, and they work for a while, and then they stop working. We have to rotate to something else.
I had it on my scalp for years before I had it anywhere else in my body.
Yes, and that's a common thing. I don't know why that is.
But I got rid of it on my scalp.
Yay! Traded it. So yeah, it can be treated the same, just depends on the doctor.
Specialized in psoriasis.
I do all sorts of stuff. lot of psoriasis. So now I would say that probably 20% of my patients are psoriasis, probably. But I also use skin cancer and acne and all the birthmarks and other stuff. And we do have an incredible specialty center. There's a guy named Alan Mentor who's who has a big he's considered to be the best in the nation, actually, with psoriasis. But no, I agree. But so there are psoriasis treatment centers, but that's all they do. But
But the study is way about it.
With studies, so with drug studies, okay, well, so we have several different drug studies going on right now, and this meeting I'm just giving you information about everything about psoriasis, and they actually can list off all the studies that we have going on. We do have studies for kids and adults, and typically the way studies work is there are certain criteria that the company makes up, not us. They hire us to follow their rules. So the way I treat a research patient, I still love them the same and look out for them the same, but I have to follow their rules. So they want a person to have a certain kind of psoriasis, a certain location, and a certain amount, and all that. So that's typically what they say. Yeah.
Is that, can you find a lot of that?
So the over-the-counter stuff you can use for scalp psoriasis is there's different tar formulations. They can be drying. So then there's all kinds of tricks to use them and tolerate them. There's tar. There's sulfa shampoos. Remember how we said in the 1800s there were sulfur injections, which is really tricky. But we have sulfa shampoos that can work really well.
The yellow bottle?
I don't know if it's in a yellow bottle. Oh, really? I don't know that brand. Cool. We got the show for.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. If you get on Amazon, you can look at them. I don't know the brand name. There's a lot of different ones, but there's also prescription ones that are sulfa that you can get over the counter too. Sometimes they're in the Mexican remedy section of HEB. They have a lot of sulfa products there. And
I don't
ventured out to that.
I did not know there was a Mexican remedy section of HEB. Is that where they have a bunch of cilantro, or?
Yeah, that's all. If you go to some of the HEBs that are in a predominantly Latino section of town, they sometimes will have a remedy section. Yeah.
Could ever be market.
Really?
Or could ever be something.
Yeah. And so you can find some cool soaps and things that are sulfa. Over the counter, it's a tar, sulfa. It's 1% hydrocortisone cream over the counter, so that is a steroid cream, but it's very low strength. Typically, psoriasis needs a lot stronger than that. Salicylic acid, that helps to get the flakes off. It doesn't help with the red part. It just gets the flakes off. And what else am I forgetting? There's all kinds of standard stuff that kind of helps with psoriasis, like Sunken Blue and then shoulders, all that helps a little bit. But there's scalp station or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of brand names, but the typical ingredients are going to be salicylic acid, tar, a little bit of steroid, and sometimes sulfa. Mm-hmm. I like tar. I like how it smells even, but I'm weird. So some people don't like the smell, but I think it smells good.
You say you were fine.
Oh yeah, that's really big right now.
What is it?
Coconut oil? It's for cooking. Yeah, coconut oil is it's an ingredient to cook with. But it's really popular right now. It's very moisturizing. It's very moisturizing. It's very moisturizing. Yeah, it's a nice, safe. Sure, that's very popular. It smells good. It's moisturizing. It's very popular right now. It's not going to cure your psoriasis though. It's going to make it less flaky for a period of time. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. But it's not going to. There's some people that say eat coconut oil. I'm like, please don't do that. But yeah, so it is moisturizing. It's a nice product. In people that have really thick, scaly stuff on their scalp, the different oils can help to dissolve that a little bit, and then you can comb that out and then put on your medication. So that's how I use oils. Yeah.
Scalp, the psoriasis on the scalp, is it all the same kind of psoriasis, or is it all different?
I mean, I guess the psoriasis on the scalp is going to range. The range is more like mild to severe. It's not going to be different patterns necessarily. Yeah. Yeah. And really, there's a little bit of a gray area between cradle cap and babies. You know, when adults have cradle cap, we call it dandruff. But there's sort of a spectrum between what we call seborrhea, which is dandruff, to psoriasis. And some people even they wimp out and they call it SIBO psoriasis, which is like combining the both because they're not sure what to label it. So some people have very, very mild dandruff at the scalp, and maybe it's very mild psoriasis. Depends on the severity. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, there are different, and Amazon is really a great place to look at things. It's not always a great place to buy things, but it's a good resource, it's a good search engine to use because you can put tar foam and pull up different brands. Yeah, there's some really good tar foams out there right now. And tar together with sunlight is a good combination. If you had to pick something natural, then tar with sunlight is a good combo.
I guess with the, it's for her, she gets like a change.
Yeah.
And then there's spot that moves.
And that's the thing with people that get psoriasis on their body as well. So the steroids tend to shut down the itching really well. And then we use all kinds of other things to make it stop and go away.
The T-gel with menthol in it.
Oh, yeah.
They've got one.
Yeah, it's really, really
It
good.
has menthol. That helps a lot with it.
Oh, cool. It's good.
Thank you so much, Dr.
You're welcome.
Very, very important.
If you have like little questions for me that you don't want to ask in the group, I can just step out, and if you wanted to ask, you don't feel weird, I'll do that if you don't want to get time. I think.
If y'all like to know more about a research study, I guess we're going to the same place. This is Liesl and Amy, and they would be happy to talk with you about a research study opportunity. Or if you just want to be in our research database, we can call you if we have future studies down the road. That maybe if you don't qualify for a study we're currently doing, then we can reach out to you in the future if something comes along that we think might be a good fit. So, really appreciate y'all coming today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Tichy.
Sure. I'll go down the hall a little ways, and if you guys want to ask me a private question, get it through, no big deal.
There's always some flyers by the door for our currently enrolling studies, whether it be an oncology study or not.
Would you like to challenge me on a cookie eating?
And that menthol really helps.
Ventilated. Wow. I'm so glad that that's gone.
That's why it was a empty bag.
No, well, I mean, it's.
Let's try five.
You got it? Hold it.
My
So, can you try five?
I